Hey guys, Ryan the Nerd here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the NECA Ben Cooper alien costume. Now, this is the last spooky review before leading up to Halloween, which is tomorrow. If this video gets out on time, then it will be tomorrow. If it doesn't get out on time, then I guess happy Halloween. But yeah, this is the last spooky review that I have in store for the month of October. I know that, I was originally going to do a lot more spooky stuff this year, but college got in the way of that, so I'm just, kind of delaying all the spooky stuff. But I think the majority of the spooky stuff that I wanted to do this year has already been done, so on the channel, at least, I think that this is probably the best thing that you're going to get this year. But taking a look at, well, actually, I'm going to explain what the hell even is this. And I said costume at the beginning when I was introducing the box and everything. Now, NECA is doing something a little bit different this year. I believe they also did it last year. I could be wrong. But they've been doing the Ben Cooper costumes that came out in the the late 80s, 70s, kind of stuff like that, into actual action figures. Now, if you're not familiar with the Ben Cooper costume line, basically they were just really, kind of cheap looking costumes that were basically like plastic garbage bags that you would just wear over yourself. They were just a full body suit that came with a mask. And they became really nostalgic over the years, just because of, how they looked and everything. And also because they also looked, pretty creepy, for, kid costumes and everything like that. And they've become sort of a collector's item now. So NECA decided to, take some of the more classic, costumes that Ben Cooper has released, in the past and turning them into action figures. And of course we have Alien in front of us here because Alien is one of my favorite, creatures of all time, so I immediately had to pick this up. And this is probably a really good, action figure line. They're very simple and they're not, too overpriced or anything like that, and they're very, very simple. So taking a look at the box here, you've got the classic, this is basically the same kind of box that the original Alien costume came in, with this, bright orange with the pink around it, and you even got some, if you can see in there, you got some stars in there, relating to the Alien. So yeah, it's just a really, nostalgic looking box, even though that it wasn't even, conceived or even thought of back then. So that was pretty awesome. On the back here, you also got the costume and mask, and then you also got the Ben Cooper logo as well. Then you also got the Alien up there as well. And then on the top of the box here, you also got the same thing. Flip around to the back of the box, you've got what the figure looks like in all its glory. And then you can see, you got the action figure and all that stuff. So that's pretty much it for the box. So let's take a look at the actual figure. And here is the figure, or costume, I should say. It's not really, well, I mean, it is a figure, but it's not like, I'm just going to say costume, honestly, because it's not really supposed to represent anything or anyone, besides, the alien. But yeah, so taking a look at the actual costume itself, it actually looks really, really accurate to how the original costume looked back then. Instead of using, like a garbage bag or a plastic bag for the material for the actual small scale of this figure here, they've actually decided to go for like some leather here, to try to give it that wrinkly look. And it does a pretty good job of recreating that because it's actually tightened around the figure, with some Velcro here. So you can actually remove the costume if you really want to for some reason. I don't know why you would do that, but it's an option there for your weirdos. But the way that the fabric overlaps each other, overlaps the costume, it creates this really, really nice, wrinkled bag look. So it does give a lot of, realism to how it actually looked. If you actually, wore this costume. And, it's got the classic Alien detail there. You can see the skull, the teeth, and the head. And then you can also kind of see some either, more, Alien chest detail here, or just, of the actual derelict spaceship. So it could just be that, or it could just be an alien. Who knows? But take a look at the mask here. The mask is also pretty accurate as well. It does have a really, really nice translucent dome here at the top. And then you can, it's very, very creepy looking. It doesn't look like the Xenomorph, which is kind of giving, you know, the scare factor here. It kind of looks like a fish or a skull or something there, which looks really, really cool. And you can also see the eyes through the eye holes there. What's really cool about this is that you can actually see the strap going around the figure's head here. And you can even see this little, you know, the string that you would tie it around your head, which looks really, really cool. But you can't remove the mask, unfortunately. But from what I can tell, it's very hard to see. But if you put a light between the crack of between the mask and the face there, you can actually see some sculpted in detail there. So it's kind of unfortunate that you can't actually remove this, but I'm pretty sure if you did be able to remove it, you would probably have like a giant, hole in the front of the forehead or on the bottom here, so we can actually like, tack on. So I'm glad they didn't have like, the removable face, the mask or anything, and it kind of gives it an ominous look because you don't know who's actually under the mask, but you can definitely see that it's somebody under the mask, which is really, really cool. Before we get into articulation here, first off, he can stand pretty well, honestly. It's just that I have a fabric surface here. But yeah, he does have he does come with a stand, and he can stand pretty fine on his own. But for the accessory that he comes with, which all of the NECA costume figures have, is that you get this, like, this trick-or-treating bag here as well. And then, it's just a little plastic thing. It's pretty flimsy, but you can see the trick-or-treat there as well with the black hat. Very, very, Halloween-y. And yeah, but unfortunately, got to be careful with this because since it is such a thin plastic, if you want to put it in the figure's hands, you're going to get some ripples and tears on the actual handle of the bag there. So I would be careful, where you want to like display it, or if it's just going to hold it in the hand, or you're just going to throw it in your accessory bag or whatever you do. But yeah, I would just be careful with that because over time that would probably break off, and then you would have no trick-or-treating bag. Honestly, he should have just used a pillowcase, but hey, what do I know? But yeah, it just fits in the hand like so you can have it. You just gotta put it like that, and then you can just have it like this, or you can, actually make him hold it like he's about to go trick-or-treating. It's a little bit hard to get it in there, but yeah, there you go. Pretty cool. Honestly, it's a really, really nice accessory, except that it's probably going to break over time, and you can still see the tears on everything, so it's a little bit sad. So take a look at the articulation here. It actually has pretty decent articulation for a figure of this size, and also a figure of this, kind of niche topic here. For the head here, he's got a ball joint at the head here, can barely look up and barely down, and it is a little bit wobbly, so I'm pretty sure over time the ball joint would get a little bit loose. It is a little bit loose right now. So he can rotate 360, and the sleeve of the costume here kind of gets in the way of the articulation. Arm can move in and out, bicep swivel, double bend at the elbow, and a wrist swivel, and a hinge joint at the wrist as well. You even got a waist swivel as well, so it kind of gets some really more natural, kind of bag crunkly poses if you really care. But yeah, decent, barely any ab crunch, unfortunately. For the legs here, also pretty limited. Because of the full body here. So he can kick that far, move back that far, bend at the knee, no double bend or anything. A swivel at the ankle here. It's also sculpted at an angle, so if you twist it, it's going to get kind of like a pivot. Bend at the foot, and a decent spread for, the restrictions that the costume holds against the figure here, so we can't really do a full splits, but it's decent for what you can get. But overall, this is a pretty unique line for NECA, and it's also pretty nostalgic for people that, had these costumes when they were a kid, and, despite them being very shitty, there's something very nostalgic about it, and, the figure overall is also really nice as well. The articulation is pretty decent, and the size is also pretty nice. The price is also okay for what this figure is. It's not too expensive. It's not too cheap. It also doesn't feel cheap as well. Classic NECA always got to keep sure, make their figures really high quality. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So if I don't, yeah, that's how I'm gonna end the video, just with stuttering and not coming out with a coherent sentence. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe. I don't care what you do, but just know what time it is. So, bye, guys.